cry. Wanna cry.
The perfect podcast is out there. And with over 2 million of today's most talked about podcasts available, Spotify is the best place to find the one you love. Whatever you're into, get way more into it with a podcast. Find the one you've been listening for right now, free on Spotify.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to what should hopefully be the first of many casts by your host. For today, Feldroth. I'm starting off with my first cast of NGS here with a replay from earlier in this season, Season 12, between two teams in Division C West, Cool Cats and Kittens and Cosmos. This game was played on October 7th, so several weeks ago, and I went ahead and placed a couple bits of more information here that we have about these teams now. Both teams made it into the playoffs. I won't give any information around which team has progressed further. Maybe we'll go into that a little bit later after we've seen the matches. But I did place their seed that they were in the playoffs. Cool Cats and Kittens placing in the first seed in their division. Cosmos placing in the fifth seed. So as we go into this first game, I'm going to start by kind of showing what these teams banned. Cool Cats and Kittens decided to take out the very small maps. the Braxis holdout and Battlefield of Eternity. Cosmos went for a different route and banned out the big maps. The Braxis holdout and or the Cursed Hollow and Towers of Doom.
Heroes.
And with that, we're going to jump over to endgame. And we'll start with some introductions here. Starting the blue team, Cool Cats and Kittens, we have Beowulf playing the Johanna, Horvath 70 playing the Blaze, Pushover playing the Raynor, Descalada playing the Chromie, and Libidium playing the Right Wing. On the red team, the side of Cosmos, we have Silver Jackal playing the Nazebo, Demon Warrior playing the Vala, Odd Thought playing the Tyrande, Mind playing the Varian, and finally Atlantis AL playing the Zagara. As we look at this initial kind of engagement, we understand that Varian's a little bit weaker early before he gets his ultimate or his kind of completes his kit at level 4. We'll take a minute as we watch these players and look at the draft. A little bit of an early engage here between Cosmos, but I think what we're really seeing here is Beowulf on the Johanna kind of delaying the rotate here as this soak was picked up really quickly, and then they're rotating back. Mind finds himself a bit too far out here, and he's going to get taken down pretty quickly. We saw the Vala come down and end up catching the soak. They lost a few globes, which is a little bit of a reduction in XP, but not very much. They were able to catch up the XP pretty quickly and then move on. Looking at talents here, we see Q build on the Vala, so she's going to be a little bit more burst damage oriented, also playing a little bit more aggressive than you normally see. Maybe using her Vault to get those Q resets and get that aggression. We see that Cool Cats and Kittens are looking a little bit aggressive. They understand the Varian's a little bit weak still. Pre-4 doesn't have its taunt yet, so it can't really tank all that damage. They can't step up that much. They're going to push that aggressive nature here and end up pushing to take this early camp. In some of the other lanes, we see Silver Jackal soaking mid on the Nazebo. He's going Q build, which is a bit meta right now. Zagara is going to try to slow down that rotation, end up missing that skill shot, and Blaze is going to maintain what he's doing, which is a double soak in this lane, and going to try to keep up with the fact that the Cosmos are running a 1-1-3. Once again, still capitalizing on that early advantage. They've already taken down the wall with that camp that they picked up earlier, and they're looking to get as much fort damage on this bottom fort as possible. That is a huge advantage this early in the game, or at all. If they're able to get this down even to a little bit lower, they can end up closing it out a little bit shortly. Later on in the game, their work is done for them. This is the most important altar on this map. And so we, or the most important fort on this map, because it gives control of a lot of altar faces. Beowulf stepping up a little bit too far, it's going to get taunted by the Varian and end up going down as well, taking some court shots as well as some damage from the rest of the team. Mind's looking aggressively here, really wants to get that hit on the team. Chromie way out of position, doesn't back up quickly enough, and ends up getting caught. That trap there is an attempt to block the charge, just didn't end up paying off. You'll have to excuse me for 1 second too while let's reduce this in-game sound just a bit. All right, and we're back at it. They're going to Cosmos tries to get a cap on the top right. It's an easy cap on the bottom with the Chromie kill. That's expected. However, with Beowulf getting the cap on the left side and the rest of the team moving in on the right, it looks like the Cool Cats and Kittens are going to opt for a double altar and give up a little bit of this front wall bottom left. However, with the kind of Varian looking really rough here as he takes too much damage trying to get that Johanna pick. Looks like he's walking out all right, but the teleport in from the Brightwing is going to heal up the Beowulf quite a bit. Brightwing is now a little bit out of position, but Raynor rotates down and makes it a little bit safer. Jackal taking a lot of damage on the Nazebo. He's going to keep backing out as well. Chromie dishing it out. You got to not walk in a straight line. Odd Thought blocks the Chromie Sandblast, but it's just enough to get Silver Jackal out. all the team on the side of Cosmos is very low, so they're going to have to play it a little bit safer here as we see where they're going to go next. Cool Cats and Kittens is going to take their left camp. Decide to get a little bit more rank lane pressure. Mind is stepping up. Once again, look at the Johanna. She takes a lot of damage, but still has her shield up, so she's going to pop that and back up a little bit as she waits for her heal. Brightwing really low on mana. I'm kind of expecting a Hearth here and maybe a teleport back in. However, Tyrande is able to give her heals to Mind. It's not a ton, and without anything to attack, she's not going to have her heal up for another little while. Brightwing ended up opting to take a tap, and with how the helpful states of Cosmos, we're going to see Cool Cats and Kittens just push in and go ahead and take that. They've got 2 camps here now. It looks like 1 camp is going to go in. Beowulf taking a lot of damage, ends up going down with the combo. Time Loop goes out on the Vala. She ends up getting away with just barely evolved. However, with this fort no longer being Cosmos, they're all in a rough position, very low. Chromie can poke from quite a ways away and is going to do a good bit of damage on this team. Varian Hearthing in a little bit of a suspicious position. Are they going to step up to be able to defend this? Ooh, Vala goes down. Probably would have liked to see Vala go back a little bit earlier and then be able to Hearth back quicker. This kind of delay that we've seen here on the side of Cosmos has meant that they're going to be down 10s and not be able to step up for this double altar phase, which is going to put them at a bit stronger of a deficit than they were before. They're positioning for this bottom tower here. They know that their way back into the game is going to be trying to take this tower back. Meanwhile, we see Zagara looking at that double rotate now. She's trying to set up vision throughout the map. It looks like it's been cleared. Raynor being able to just push here for free, though, because Blaze is taking the top camp, pushing in top. There's just too many fronts for Zagara to be able to handle. You see the 3-man doing exactly what they should be doing on the side of Cool Cats and Kittens, pushing in this bottom lane, defending this bottom fort, and just keeping so many members of the team, Cosmos, kind of at bay and tied up. I'd love to see Cosmos change, which it looks like they're doing. They're saying, hey, if this team's going to defend, then we have to move to another. Maybe they're not. I would have liked to see Cosmos maybe back up a little bit and look at a different fort, pressing somewhere different, understanding that they're not going to be able to get traction here under this fort while the other team's there. Taunt goes out on Johanna. He's ended up going to get caught by the Nazeebo mind control and goes down with the ultimate from the Tyrande and the Hunter's Mark from her as well. A few more talents here. We see Exterminator on the Raynor, just looking for those quick camp clears. It's not normally what you see on this map because there's not a ton of PvE to be doing here. You're doing a lot of team fight. However, with this Chromie going Q build and having not quite gotten it off yet, she is looking at a late game power spike through that talent completion when that comes through. Blaze doing a bit of an aggressive rotate here on the Zagara. Ends up doing some pretty good damage, pops his trait and his attack speed boost. I think that's Adrenaline Stim Pack, yep. Aggressive move onto the side of Cosmos, who looks like they stepped up just a little bit too much. Ultimate comes out, the shield from Johanna, stuns a couple. That's going to be Vala going down as well. Odd Thought, what are you doing, man? Tries to go for a creative Hearth, does not get it done, and is just going to be sacrificed here at the whims of the Cool Cats and the Cool Kittens. It's going to be another 5 shots, bringing Cosmos down to 15 on the right side. Blaze here pushing in on the top right fort. Mid fort going down has meant that they're going to have to clear that and then send Zagara back to continue to deal with the Blaze. Cosmos were able to get the bottom fort back. These camps pushing in are going to bring it. Yeah, this is going to go down right again. Not a good place for Cosmos to be. They're down 13s. I don't know if I would be stepping up here. That was a good stun onto the Tyrande, not being able to support us quite as clearly as she needed to be with that CC. They understand that this fort's about to become activated again, and they just have to step back. Once again, in these situations, a lot of times what you see is, hey, this team's spending a lot of resources here in the bottom right to defend. A little bit of engage from Varian. Jackal steps up to try to be able to follow up and ends up being engaged in the back as well. This team is designed around forcing a fight or not being around the Cool Cats and Kittens team. Taunt goes out on the Johanna. Emerald Wind is going to be able to clear quite a bit of that despite the zombie wall from the Nazebo. Teleport's going to go out onto Johanna to heal her again, and you see a lot of really high health pulls on this side, while the poke from the Chromie is getting a lot more traction. Tyrande as a healer requires that constant fight in order to keep the heals up. She needs the auto attacks to get that cooldown reduction. Spending a lot of these resources here on the bottom right is not providing the value they need. You see Tyrande start to step up in the top, which I like quite a bit. She's going to go for that early cap. Meanwhile, Blaze is going to move pretty aggressively onto the Zagara. She get the cap off before it's delayed by the Blaze. Blaze delays. However, Blaze is now a little bit out of position, does an aggressive dive, but the rest of the team's here instead. Mind ends up the one in trouble, as Mind and the Zagara both walk away with almost no health. The Beowulf on the Johanna is able to clear it out. Chromie putting in that really great damage is going to push them off this side. However, during that time, they were able to get the cap. Meanwhile, Raynor took a little bit more time to rotate, and the reason is he's got bottom lane pushing in with another 3 shots as well. So that's going to be 5 more shots, bringing them down to 10. Cosmos sees the bottom lane camp and is going to defend that 3. However, the kills are going to cost them something because Cool Cats and Kittens have decided to go ahead and get this boss. It's the right time for that play. They know that Cosmos has to spend some time defending bottom. They can still get there in time, or as it looks like they're doing, decide to take mid fort instead. And this is really close. If they're able to get mid fort and hold both, then one turn in will be a win condition for the side of blue team. However, we don't see them defending bottom. Varian's trying to give a little bit of vision, but he steps up and throws an ability, ends up getting a charge on the camp, gives him a little bit of distance. Cool Cats and Kittens decide, hey, it's not worth chasing. We're just going to get the camp and look to try to take this fort back immediately as well. Up 16s, they know they can be a little bit aggressive. We see Vala potentially rotating up for a gank. What I would do is I would hold the 3 here that Cosmos have already committed, try to defend the fort if possible, and have the Vala burn this mid fort so that at least this one of the next turn-ins will not be kill condition, a kill condition, and they can try to defend. They go in aggressively. The attempt on the Emerald Wind, but it does not go off. Both Chromie and Brightwing end up going down. Johanna's shield ends up breaking. The slow from the spiders comes out. Those spiders can end up hurting it this late in the game, and with those quests completed. And they're going to end up with a double kill right ahead of this altar phase. Excellent timing for Cosmos. It's exactly what they needed at this point. They really should be looking aggressive and positioning for these kills. I'd love to see like Zagara or Tyrande ready to interrupt this left side with 2 down. They really need to look at all 3 of these being capped. Zagara is able to capture mid, which is going to make it so that this only means 4 shots. However, 2 shots left to go is not a place you want to be as any team. 2 of the 3 are going to go, are going to be taken by Cosmos, dealing 8 damage to Cool Cats and Kittens, who are now at 25. With 25-2 and the pressure kind of being on Cosmos to make plays, they're really trying to go for the Johanna and end up not getting it before the teleport for the Brightwing goes out. We're going to see the, what is that? Why am I forgetting the name all of a sudden? Blessed Shield. Of course I knew that. We're going to see Blessed Shield go out and miss, so that cooldown's going to be down. We'll see if that if Cosmos is communicating and realizing that that's a pretty big CC that Cool Cats and Kittens are lacking. We're going to continue to see a 4v4 here. I don't think I've seen a 5v5 fight this entire game. Zagara and Blaze just kind of doing their own thing. Chromie with her traps able to give vision of this side rotate, and we see the big Emerald Wind coming out trying to go for that disengage. Meanwhile, Varian is still looking to find a way to engage. Ends up choosing Johanna, although that was not his preference. And the shield comes out. Blaze is rotating in aggressively for the first time. He's looking at the stun. It's looking like it'll land. It ends up landing. Vala and Tyrande both going down, as well as the fort, which was incredibly low at this point. Mind and Silver Jackal just trying their best to get out, but with taunts and ice blocks, that's just not enough. Time loop goes on the Zagara, making this a clean 5-man team wipe for Cool Cats and Kittens. That's a mega kill, and they're just looking to across the map, just saying, all right, how can we get 2 points? Here's a camp, let's walk these in. That'll do it. So this should be game 1 going over to Cool Cats and Kittens. Pretty decisively with a 25-point lead in the point structure over Cosmos. There we go, game 1. All right. Kind of looking at this game for just a second. We see Nazeebo putting out a good amount of damage. Raynor actually coming in and doing a lot more damage than I thought he was doing with the amount of map control and camps he was taking. A lot of poke from the Chromie, but ends up coming out quite a bit under some of the main 2. Chromie and Dvala coming up very even. 14 kills to 6 just speaks to a little bit of a difference in the ability to engage, how to close the distance, what kind of fights are we looking for from team to team. From Cool Cats and Kittens, this first game, you see very much a kind of comp where we can poke, we can have the sustain healing from the Bright Wing, we're okay if fights go long, we have a lot of abilities that can delay you from capturing an altar, and we're willing to wait until we either get your health pools low enough. Tehran's not great with the poke damage because if the enemy team is not engaging or she doesn't have something to attack, she can't sustain that healing over time. And even if she can, she'll end up being a lot more mana hungry than Brightwing will. Meanwhile, from Cosmos, you saw a very aggressive team with kind of a little bit of an atypical draft. A couple range characters. Zagara trying to do the off lane against Blaze. And Blaze ends up being way more successful at it. A little bit of this is kind of false. Blaze was end up double soaking while a lot of the beginning of the game, Nazeebo stayed mid and ended up getting that soak while Blaze was getting that double. So that kind of deficit between the 2 solo laners isn't quite necessarily true of soak lost. It's just kind of a different way that they're approaching the map structure. However, as we look at this comp with a Varian and a Tehran and a Vala, you're really trying to get that quick engage, dive in, taunt the target, use the stun from the Tehran, the armor reduction from her trait, and then all the Vala damage to be able to bring that target from 100 to 0 or as much as possible, as quickly as possible. Didn't have really anything to answer the Bright Wing teleport. They didn't have any heal reduction or anything like that, although that is something that Varian can pick up at 13. Although he didn't end up doing that, he opted for the Juggernaut instead, which does some percent damage, kind of leaning into that burst potential upon the charge. However, with the Johanna, they're not able to get that closing distance consistently. Johanna's not a great target for that. If you don't wait until after she's used her Unstoppable, then she's going to just end up popping that Unstoppable as soon as the taunt's over, giving yourself a lot more survivability, and then just walking away. The zombie wall from Nazeebo showed some promise there for a little while when he was able to get close enough. However, when he chooses spiders at 1, that gives him a lot less range to be able to follow up on that Varian dive. So Varian dives, Nazeebo's got to step up inordinately far, along with the Q build from Vala, where she's going to be vaulting aggressively using this repeating arrow at 4. She's going to get those double vaults. Then she's not going to have an escape when the target survives or doesn't, and the team decides to have that re-engage after Cosmos engages. So a little bit difficult. Some things that could have changed the game. We could have seen Varian go Shield Breaker. That could have highly reduced Johanna's survivability. We could have seen the heal reduction instead, which would have reduced the dive target's heal when Brightwing tried to Z in. Although it worked out really well, a lot of times with Chromie, the meta thing is to pick the vision. I liked how in this specific comp, especially with a Rainer who's not going either of the damage talents. This kind of quest talent or the Falling Sands quest talent gives her another kind of late game power boost ahead of her kind of reduced power curve or accelerated power curve, getting her abilities a little bit earlier than the rest of everyone in the game. So great first series. Excellent attempt. We saw it go back and forth a couple times. Ultimately came down to Cool Cats and Kittens being able to hold that bottom four and just sustain that value for a lot longer than Cosmos was able to find their win conditions and then try to milk value from that. So looking forward to game 2. All right, switching screens here and exiting this replay. We are going to be going to a Tomb of the Spider Queen for game number 2. This is a replay. I don't have all of the data, so I don't know who chose what maps. I could speculate, but I'm going to refrain. And as we go into this game, I'm going to use the load-in time to get a little bit of insight into what their draft looks like. Cool Cats and Kittens going extremely aggressive. And we're just going to pause here for just 1 second and look at these comps. We see Cool Cats and Kittens going extremely aggressive with an Anubarak, a Butcher, which we don't often see, and then the Jaina for follow-up and the Anduin for that kind of excellent CC potential that he brings, as well as great healing. He's just kind of a jack of all trades. From the side of Cosmos, we're going to see a Johanna being picked up, which is makes a lot of sense into Cool Cats and Kittens draft. Sonya for the off lane, Kael'thas for damage, Vala again being picked up, and Malfurion for heals. I'd love to have seen the draft order for this game. This is looking really interesting. I'd love to see if the Butcher was a late pickup or an early one, how they responded. A lot of times with the damage that Cool Cats and Kittens has, a Malfurion is a little bit of an unusual pick. He doesn't deal with burst damage very well. Great sustain healer, and great with multiple melees, so I think he will get some benefit there, but I'll be interested to see how this plays out for both teams. All right. Diving into game number 2. I'll have a drink of water real quick. Libidian coming in. Look at that sexy Anduin player, he says. Yeah, all right. I like it. More people that amazing. I tell you what, Anduin's played a lot all over the place. Really, really popular healer, and it makes sense. He's pretty safe and good into most situations. All right, on the side of the blue team, we have Beowulf on the Anubarak. We have Libidium on that sexy Anduin, as is quoted from Libidium. We have Descalada playing the Butcher. We have Horvath playing the Blaze once more, and we have Pushover playing the Jaina. On the side of Cosmos, we have Mind playing the Johanna. We have Silverjack playing the KT. We have Demon Warrior playing the Vala, I think for the second time. Odd Thought playing the Malfurion. And already in bottom lane, we have Atlantis AL playing the Sonya. You have that kind of obligatory initial engage mid. However, with Sonya bottom, she's looking to get some early advantage right away. Horvath's not going to let that happen. He's going to rotate down pretty much immediately. We're going to look at the talent picks for immediately. Demon Warrior on the Vala is going to go a bit different. Not going to go the aggressive Q build, instead going the W build this time. W build for Vala is kind of considered the ranged, safe build for her, I'd say. Auto attack being that kind of consistent A-step pressure, and Q build being the burst, kind of probably the least survivable build in terms of mobility. They're going to kind of trade off here. Beowulf doing a little bit better job of kind of delaying this rotate, splitting the team. Both teams are going to end up catching the soak, however, and catching those gems, as we see Butcher just kind of getting a little bit stacked. Beowulf's going to end up having to dive out as he continues to try to delay the rotate. Butcher's going to charge that wave, because why not? He can and he will. He is Butcher and he needs meat, and the minions have it, and they're going to give it to him. Beowulf kind of getting a little bit caught out here. He still has his dive out. He's going to end up using it. He is showing Beetle build, which is interesting. Maybe a pickup if you expected Vala to go Q build, because the Beetles can soak those Qs. They get a little of spell armor with this talent. However, it's not going to do them a ton of good against a KT or a W build Jaina, as much as it would have done him good against like a Li Ming or someone with kind of directional burst damage. Ends up going aggressive dive on the Vala. She's going to get charged by the Butcher and ends up going down really quickly. One benefit to this team that they have is that at least 2 of their characters are going to be able to basically go past any front line that Cosmos is going to be able to put up. It's going to require a really, really safe positioning from the side of Cosmos in order to handle it. Came back for the match, but in staying for Feldjoth's hair. All right, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for jumping in. Materium, our team's healer, just jumping in on the Anduin train. Libidium, this is game 2. Game 2. All right, we see the dive in from the Butcher. He's going to end up getting the kill on the Jaina. The root and the sleep is going quite well. They're getting the return kill on the Jaina. However, excuse me, Butcher got the kill on the Vala, return kill on the Jaina. Beowulf also going to go down, but ends up popping the W, gives a little bit of spell armor. The Q from Jackal just misses on the Kael'thas, not quite able to land it. Ends up being a kill trade the second time. Jackal a little bit too far forward. Have to wonder if that Butcher dive was meant for him and he accidentally hit a minion, but regardless, he's not going to end up landing the CC. They're not going to catch the KT. These kind of trades on kills, unless they're able to get the Butcher consistently, is going to be a benefit for Cool Cats and Kittens as the game goes on. So we're going to have to see something from Cosmos really quickly, or this is just going to kind of spin out of control. 129 stacks of meat from the Butcher already. Jaina about a quarter of the way to her ice block, which will be a help as well. I love it. I don't know why, like, seeing Butcher charge these waves every single time is making me laugh, but it really is. This consistent kind of road blocking in the middle shows kind of a discrepancy in the aggressive behavior they're able to pull out of their draft on the side of Cool Cats and Kittens. Normally you want to be able to see the team that wins the draft on this map, at least early, is able to step up aggressively. She's going to end up getting rooted, but the Anduin's going to have that pull to save the sleep from going off and then return CC. Beowulf takes a little bit of damage, ends up really just distracting for the side of Cosmos as they're moving up and around. Butcher kind of just OCD for that meat, just staying there and looking for it. He doesn't care about the fight. If there's a kill that Beowulf on a Nubarak hands up on a silver platter, then he'll have it. Ends up charging the Johanna, but her Unstoppable was up. The sleep does land on the Malfurion thanks to gravity lapse from the Kael'thas. There's just not enough there to follow it up. Sonya down in the off lane has been suffering a tad, it would seem. Able to, looking at this build, going the W build, which we see quite a bit. Not able to keep up with this Blaze as much as you'd want to see, and ends up losing a wall with these, still a really healthy Siege Giant in that lane. Okay. Looking for a rotate, ends up deciding against it, goes immediately back mid with the things landed at the spiders, and we're going to see a push on mid lane here. See how this goes. Pretty good defense here from the side of Cosmos. Butcher wants to just go ahead and grab some soak, maybe some meat top lane. Looks like they're going to drop this the spider, however, with Tints just around the corner for the blue team. This could be a top fort with a pretty nice wave, pretty healthy spider, and ultimates to top it off. A little bit of aggressive positioning. Slow comes out from the Jaina with the Blizzard. We're going to see a little bit of targeting from the tower. Goes out. The Kunku goes out on the Malfurion. Ends up catching the... Ooh, this is rough. A little bit of an unusual play there. Anduin thinks that Butcher's going to charge in. He ends up just walking forward and not getting quite as much value from the Light Bomb as you would have liked to see. However, instead of the Malfurion going down after the Cocoon, the Vala getting nabbed by that Lamb Slaughter ends up going down along with the Johanna trying to save her. Okay. Big Muff McGuff, hello. Bit belated on my part, sorry. Yeah, it happens. You were right on it with the light bomb. We get a leap in from Sonya, and Descolada's just going to get saved there from the end of what we're going to see. We see a double CC chain on the damage from Cosmos, and a ton of damage going out from that Blaze. Ends up being a kill on the Anubarak, however, with that aggression. It's going to follow up and be the return kill from the Sonya. However, with the side of Cosmos being really low, they're not able to return that engage very cleanly. Malfurion's going to take a while to heal up, kind of a similar refrain from last game, where you see the heals on this side, on the red team, really relying on combat and not really able to successfully and sustainably heal up their own team over time, or as quickly. However, we're seeing a little bit of an engage from on the Butcher. He's going to end up going down. Was a little bit too overzealous for that wave, especially seeing as we now see the fresh meat has been completed, that quest being done just a moment ago. Blaze able to be really successful with that Siege Giant again, able to take that bottom fort as another Web Weaver, excuse me, falls for the side of the blue team. 13's just around the corner. Cosmos trying to disengage. A leap goes out on the Anduin, however, not much follow-up. I think the entire team forgot that they had a Vala Cocoon back here because the Jaina's trying for that kill, ends up getting it, so it works successfully, while the rest of the team just pushes this aggression mid. Top's going to be left alone a bit. It's going to push pretty well on its own. The mid lane is farther forward, so they're going to push there and get that value. We see Jaina or Sonya stepping up quite a bit on a little bit of a low Blaze, but that Blaze has that wave in his favor and that self-heal, so he's doing better than I think this Sonya would have expected him to do. Would be really low. I'm now really invested in this fight. He pops his ult, and he ends up getting the kill at the last second. Look at that stun. Whew. That was pretty insane. Materium says Cosmos really bad. Nothing to stop the 4-man rotates for meat. Yeah, they didn't have anything to do that. It's kind of speaking earlier about a little bit of a problem with the draft. We end up seeing the Land of the Slaughter go out, but Joanna's able to pop her unstoppable. Butcher gets targeted a little bit. However, with the Jaina poke, they're going to end up taking down mid-heap. Yeah, the Beatles with piercing Anduin root were able to help slow their rotates and let Butcher stack early. Yeah, I agree. I think the other thing is that the way the heals were rotated and the damage that was chosen on the side of Cosmos, you had some pretty squishy people there without a lot of threat to provide to Cool Cats and Kittens. That lack of threat in the early game was really kind of what led to them stepping up really, really aggressively. Ends up being a kill on the Anubarak. He kind of walks around, doesn't necessarily expect them all to be there, and Cosmos kind of looks at him surprised. I'm just playing this scene out in my head, and says, okay, sure, and then they end up nabbing that kill. It's really good for Cosmos at this point. They just got their Web Weaver. With a kill on the Anubarak, they may be able to push in a little bit better. However, death timers aren't that long, and the waves are pushed out pretty far, so we don't see a ton of value here from... or not as much value as one would have hoped. Cosmos has to be looking for a fort here at top at bare minimum. I'm expecting to see bottom kind of just get cleared eventually, but they end up opting not to push in very hard on the top lane. Blaze gets the kind of the engage on the Sonya, who takes a good bit of damage. Now Furion's still top. The team's a little bit separated. Top. The Spider is going to get cleared out pretty easily. The team's looking for an engage. Beowulf just can't wait. He can taste it. Ends up getting the Cocoon on the KT, who ends up getting silenced. Once again, another light bomb from on the Butcher, who goes in. Odd Thought stepping out quite a bit. maybe trying to pull some of the focus away from the rest of the team. However, he ends up going down as well. Sonya just in the line of sight of the Butcher, and that was all he needed to charge. Johanna trying her best to walk away, ends up being the only one surviving that quad kill from the side of Cool Cats and Kittens, who are taking this opportunity up talent tiers, 3 levels up, and Johanna walks out with her Unstoppable, desperately trying to distract them. We see that Pyroblast coming out immediately, but that spell armor from the Blazes is too much, and this is going to be game number 2 in this series, going over to the side of Cool Cats and Kittens. A clean 2-0, pretty commanding leads both games. Well done, both teams. Well done, Cool Cats and Kittens. All right, as we look at this, let's do a bit of an analysis on what happened here for this second game. Jaina doing a very large amount of damage. That's to be expected, especially with how much CC set up and the CC train that Cool Cats and Kittens had to go off of. You had the Anubarak dive, you had the follow-up stun from his spikes afterwards, you had the Butcher's stun, you had the Enduin's root, you had the Blaze AoE stun when he was with the team, and then you had the CC from the Jaina. So the Jaina really was in a position where she could structure her ability damage and continue over and over again to provide that pressure on the team that you want to see from a mage. Jaina gets a lot of value when she's able to consistently step up and not be targeted. The heavy front line that Cool Cats and Kittens chose to draft really assisted and aided with that. Jaina's a little bit squishier. Her engage distance is a lot shorter typically, unless she specs into a couple different ability pickups. So she tends to be a little bit weaker when it comes to an aggressive enemy team. However, this kind of front line was able to give her the wall that she needed in front of her to step up consistently and provide that damage. On the side of the red team, Cosmos here was able to put out a lot of damage. Demon Warrior on the Vala with that W build. Once again, it's the safest build for her. It's probably the only thing that she thought that they could do consistently, and I think it was the right choice. Don't want to go kind of into Q build, which is a little bit of a magey build for Vala, and kind of step on the Kael'thas's toes. A lot of deaths from the Vala, though. I think that's kind of indicative of the Anubarak being able to dive right past the Sonya with the Unstoppable on his dive, and the Butcher, who is also unstoppable on his charge, is able to walk right past the Johanna as well, and Unstoppable can now clear the blind as well, so it doesn't. Unless the Johanna was able to say that they were able to clear that blind as well. Looking at chat, Materium saying a Cosmos push bot early and Sonya double soaked. Cool Cats would have had to choose. Entered for top 4 probably. Yeah, I think that Materium was trying to recommend another way for this draft to have played out a little bit better. We saw that the 4-man here, Blaze is a very capable double rotate, double soaker. Another way that this could have alternatively played out is both teams could have chosen to put Blaze and Sonya in the top 2 lanes and have them try to double soak against each other, and then try to just head-to-head see who wins in a 4v4 bot lane with that consistent pressure. It would have been a little bit better for Malfurion. He would have been able to get consistent healing, and it would have weakened the Butcher a little bit unless they'd chosen to have Butcher in the off lane to continue getting those meat stacks and provide more pressure in the bottom lane for Cosmos. However, as we saw this kind of front line engage in the consistent Jaina damage, it's hard to say how that would have played out as well. If and kind of like Libidium, who is the Anduin on this team, was saying in chat, if they had just decided to push for it and sacrifice and give bot for top, they would have gotten probably more value in that scenario, as top is a more contested lane and there is a better win condition there. Looking at the heal numbers, Anduin able to put a lot more healing out. With the level lead that they had and the kill advantage, a lot of the times that comes from just staying alive a lot more, but it also shows a little bit that Malfurion's only able to provide like consistent like solid aggressive healing numbers when when his team is able to be really aggressive and push into the other ones, because that Moonfire giving that burst heal is really where Malfurion kind of comes to life, and we weren't able to see that here. Blaze a little bit ahead of Soak, Kel'Thas doing quite a bit, Sonu being pushed out of a solid amount of Soak. However, had some good return leaps. I don't think there's anything here unique on the talent structure. I will give a little bit of a commentary on where these teams are right now. Cosmos, unfortunately, has just made it to 5th seed of the tournament. However, they unfortunately lost their first game of the playoffs against as 5th seed against the 4th seed team, who I don't know the name of. However, Cool Cats and Kittens will be making it into the playoffs. Let's see here. They are in the grand finals or the finals of C West against Roll One Esports. So we'll end up seeing the 1st seed, Cool Cats and Kittens, against the 3rd seed, Roll One Esports. I don't know if that game has been scheduled yet. So this series here will have been my first cast in NGS. I look forward to hopefully doing many more. If you enjoyed what you listened to, then please give me a follow. It'll help me as I start to stream out for the first little while. This will only ever be a hobby, but if you liked me casting this game, and as I cast more, then reach out and I'll do my best to cast more of more teams games moving forward. Thank you so much, everyone in the chat, for jumping in. Next Thursday, Libidium says, so tune into that if you were interested in how this goes. Sorry to give any of the other teams a little bit more insight into your gameplay, Libidium, for Cool Cats and Kittens. This might be a research track for some others, but with the confidence that you showed here, I'm sure that you'll be confident going into that series, and I look forward to seeing the outcome myself. All right. Thank you very much, and I look forward to casting again for you all very soon. See you next time. Bye, folks.